The views expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of this television station. Please enjoy.
Hey everybody, Rob Harter here, and I'm so excited to introduce you to a brand new show called Impact and Influence. It's all about making a world of difference with your one and only life. You know, too much our news media is filled with negative story after negative story. Well, this show is going to focus on the bright lights of social change. People that are really committed to making this world a better place. In fact, we think you're going to be inspired by their stories. People that are maybe just ordinary people doing extraordinary things in this community and throughout the world. In fact, we have two guests today. The very first guest is Bill White. Now, if you're from Park City, you know about Bill White. He's a very successful restaurateur, but many of you may not know he has his own nonprofit called Bill White Farms. And we're going to talk a little bit about why he started the farms, what he's hoping to accomplish through the farms, and how he's impacting the nonprofit community specifically through his farms. So we're really glad you're with us. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with Bill White. Our guest today, the first guest anyway, is Bill White. Many of you know from him in Park City as a famous restaurateur. Very famous, but he also has started his own nonprofit. It's called Bill White Farms. And so today I want to talk about Bill White Farms and really tell us a little bit about the genesis. Like, why did you start it? What problem were you trying to solve with it?
Well, when he started the farm was about 3 years ago, Rob, and I live across the street, and I have for 27 years in Ranch Place, directly across, and I kept seeing this little derelict area and imagining, boy, I could use an extra space to put my tools or have a workshop or whatever. So we bought that little piece of property with no intent of being a nonprofit or being what it is today.
So you just wanted to buy it and you weren't sure what to do with it yet?
Yeah, and then we worked with the county, got an agricultural permit, which allowed us to just go over there and fix up the building, or there were some historic structures on the ground that were, on the grounds that were falling apart, and we started to fix one up, and pretty soon it started to speak to me, and I'm like, wow, this place really has a magic beyond what I just perceived, and let's see what we can do. And so we finished the garage, which you'll see right on 224 as you're heading into town. The garage is right by the bus stop there.
Right.
And we started doing charitable events in that garage, catered from the restaurants, and to raise money for other charities.
So, okay, so maybe that where it started, where you're like, hey, I could use this farm to impact the nonprofits here in Park City.
Well, it's with the construction, we started with the big fence around it, and so I kind of put this mystique, I guess. It wasn't intentional, it just happened. And put this fence up so nobody knew what was going on behind the fence.
Right.
And so it gave us this little type of exclusivity, and so when somebody said, oh, we're going to have a Youth Winter Sports Alliance or a People's Health Clinic or Christian Center, or whatever event there, it gave it a little nudge for people to come, and then we would we provide the venue, the food, the beverage, the service, and all of the proceeds, whatever the charity charges, goes to the charity.
That's fantastic. So you're supporting them in that way, but also I know you're really wanting to turn this into an educational experience for local kids of how things grow, right? We're so used to going to the store and buying things and it's just wrapped up and you put it in the microwave, and you really have this vision, I know, to teach people this is how things grow. So talk maybe a little bit about that, because I know it's kind of maybe a secondary vision for you.
Well, it's not so much secondary. That's really one of the primary part of our mission statement is to help heal the earth and help people learn where their food comes from. And it's kind of a cliche today, where everybody's talking about farm to table or organic this or organic that, but we wanted to show people, not tell people. So people are, I find, very tactile, and they want to see. They don't want to be told. They want to, oh, look at that carrot, and here's why it it is what it is. And so at those farm dinners, and you and I have talked about this, so at those farm dinners we serve typically 80-85% of the ingredients that we've grown either on that piece of property or on our ranch on Old Ranch Road or some local.
So this is truly
areas.
farm to table here. I mean, it's
Well,
local.
we call it dirt to table because it's not. It's
Doesn't
not.
sound as tasty, but
Yeah, it does
but it
not.
works.
No, we wash everything, but
Okay, good.
But it's, we work with biology,
Okay.
not with chemicals. So we don't use herbicides and pesticides. All of our animals are raised in the way that they should be, not in confinement. We recycle all of our kitchen scraps from the restaurants and use it for animal feed for the chickens, turkeys, the ducks, the pigs, the cows, the horses, the
So
sheep.
it's a self-contained farm. I remember you telling us, right?
To some degree, and we're working more and more on that. I'm producing a food product to provide those charitable functions first. And the second priority is a program you and I have worked together on. We call it Food to Pantry, and we ship the eggs and the things to the food pantry where we feed 4,000 people a month in this wealthy town. It's to find that huge vacuum of need. It is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for 20 years with the Christian Center, way back when it was at the other location.
Right.
And slowly we've ramped up our efforts, and we're trying to get away from providing the leftover from, I won't name any of the donors, and because God bless them for donating the food, but we're trying to get it so that the food pantry has a very good quality, healthy product. And then as an ancillary piece to that, we do the demonstration kitchens.
Exactly. Yeah, talk about that a little bit, because those are so fun.
Well, it's a program again that you and I.
Yeah, you can tell people about it.
And we take the food pantry clients, and just because we give them healthy food doesn't mean they're going to eat it or know what to do with it. Although many of them are better chefs than I ever could claim to be, and but it's getting the kids to eat it. So we bring the families in with their children, and typically it's a Hispanic group, and we have Max translating, and we talk about all different types of issues, not just the food per se. We talk about inclusion in our community and how important it is for them to feel like they're inside the house. I always say, looking out the window with the rest of us instead of outside of the house looking in the window at us.
Yeah.
And
well, I know. Just because it's one of our programs at the Christian Center. People who have gone have loved it. They felt so honored. They've been treated to a wonderful meal by Bill White, and you and your staff do such a good job of welcoming people. As you think about that, maybe that event or the farm in general, what has been the most rewarding part of what you've done with the farm and through the farm?
Well, without getting off on again too big of a tangent, which I tend to do, is we had the NAC function the other night, and we were talking to I was talking to the group of donors about the old sayings that we've all heard. It's better to give than to receive, and I told them that it's not better because somebody tells you it's better. It's better because it feels better. And it's a natural genesis and evolution, if you will, of being a receiver of gifts. Like I use Christmas as an example. When you were a kid and you couldn't wait to open up that present and you were a great receiver. Well, after you grow up and put away childish things, another thing that we talk about, and you start expressing yourself differently, you get way more enjoyment from giving than getting. I'm a horrible receiver. If somebody gives me a gift,
you're a good giver. That's a good thing.
If somebody gives you, it's like, what do I don't know. What do I? But the being blessed with the opportunity to give to others, whatever it is, whether it's services or goods or you're helping somebody, is way more internally satisfying, and also helps us tear down the image of us being this big profiteer business restaurant. And when in actuality, the third purpose of the food, we've talked about the first two, the third is that it does make its way into the restaurants, and 100% of the profit of all 8 of my restaurants, not 5% or 10%, 100% of the profit comes back and is plowed back into the charity.
Wow, that's incredible. So as people are watching this, how can they get involved? Like, what can they do, or how can they support what you're doing?
Well, there's a variety of ways. You can visit our website and become more educated. We on what it is we're doing, because it's so multifaceted.
Right.
We educate the Farm Bureau from Iowa how to be better farmers and how to grow things other than a monoculture of corn and soybeans. We do the USDA. They come out and from nationwide.
That's incredible.
And
Here
yeah.
in Park City,
Here-
you're setting the example.
And then we do the brownie troops, you know.
That's awesome, yeah.
And show
Yep.
them, you know, hey, this is. And I tell this story often about this lady that stopped by the farm, and she wanted to see the pigs. We had just had a batch of piglets, and she had her 2 daughters with her, probably 4 years old, average. And so we went and saw the pigs, and then we went to see the chicken coop. And I reached into one of the nests and pulled out an egg that had just been freshly laid, and pulled it out and put it in the 4-year-old's hand. And she was like enthralled. She was like, "Why is it warm?" And she couldn't, because you think the only egg she's ever touched has come out of her fridge.
Exactly.
You know, you buy them in the store, they're cold.
They're always cold,
Yeah, and she's
right?
like, "Why is it warm?" And I said, "Well,
Something's wrong with this.
It just came out of the chicken." And she goes,
That's incredible.
and then she said,
Wait.
What's inside?"
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, but that's, you talk about
There's
the
your
reward.
experience, yeah.
Those are, that was a long answer to a short question, but those are all very rewarding experiences for me.
Love it, love it. Well, you've got to check out Bill White's farm. As you go down 224, you can see it on your right or left, depending if you're leaving town or going into town. He does so much good things. I can speak on behalf of the Christian Center of Park City. He does great work, and he's really supporting not just us, but so many nonprofits, and he's really trying to educate our community on where food comes from and how to do food and life in more healthy ways.
We could go to the website and see billwhitefarms.org.
Yeah.
Or we can go to my podcast, billwhitepodcast.com.
Perfect. With that, we got to take a break. We'll be right back with Heather Sims.
Bill White Farms is a nonprofit organization located in Park City, Utah. Our nonprofit mission is to be on the cutting edge of sustainability and education for agriculture and ranching. We provide tours to the public and organizations interested in healing the earth. We also provide cooking demonstrations and a farm to food pantry program for those in need.
Rob Harter here from the Christian Center of Park City, and I'm here at the Bill White Farms. And we're here just to thank Bill White for all that he's doing, all that he has done in the past. He's been a supporter of the Christian Center's food pantry for years now. And we just want to applaud him for this farm to pantry program that he's been doing, where he can provide food right from this farm straight to the food pantry. And so it's fresh. He gives us produce, he gives us eggs, all kinds of things where it's straight again from his farm to the people that we serve through our food pantry. On behalf of everyone that we serve and everyone at the Christian Center, thank you, Bill White and Bill White Farms.
I'm Bill White, and this is my farm.
Welcome back to Impact and Influence. Our second guest today is Heather Sims. She is the Youth Programs Director at YSA. Now, if you're from Park City or even in Salt Lake and throughout Utah, you maybe have heard of the YSA because of a program called Get Out and Play. But they do so much more than that. In fact, they're growing quite a bit. And that's why I wanted Heather to come on the show and talk about all the wonderful things they're doing and how they're impacting our community. So Heather, so good to have you on the show.
You.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here.
You got it. Yeah. So talk about this, not just to Get Out and Play, but maybe talk about that first and then all the other programs, because I know you do a lot of things.
Yeah, so the Get Out and Play program was actually, it started off as a PTO program, and the PTOs used to take the kids to the mountain. And then after the Olympics and the Olympic legacy, the Get Out and Play program was born, and we came under the umbrella of the Youth Sports Alliance. So this year will be our 10th year under the Youth Sports Alliance.
10 years,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, under the Youth Sports Alliance. And up until about 3 years ago, it was mainly snow and ice programs. So skiing, snowboarding, freestyle, ski jumping, and all the ice disciplines. So figure skating, hockey, and speed skating.
Got it.
And I moved here and from California, coming from the sun to the snow, and I see all these trails, and I'm like, why aren't we doing mountain biking? And so I introduced mountain biking to the program with another local nonprofit, Young Riders, and I found out my daughter likes climbing, so then we introduced climbing, and so the Get Out and Play program has grown over the last 3 years.
Fabulous.
But we found a gap with teenagers.
Okay.
So I went into the schools and asked these kids, you know, if I was going to put on a program, what would you like to do? And it wasn't just typical sports, which I was thinking that that's what they wanted, but really they wanted arts and photography and cooking and so
much beyond just sports now. We're really branching into other after-school programs typically.
Yeah, and I think that's because, you know, some of the kids ski on the weekends with teams and they wanted to do something totally different. And so we reached out to other partners in town and venues, and the Activate program was born. And so last year we had our first year at Ecker Hill. Okay. And this is our second year. And then this year is our first year at Treasure Mountain.
Okay. So let's just hit the pause button quick. So Activate, it's great, a clever name. So it's Activate.
Yes.
So it's for 8th graders, correct?
Yeah, and the idea was it's going to go align with the regrading, but currently it goes up to 9th grade.
Okay, it goes up to 9th grade. Excellent. So how have you expanded that? Talk a little bit about the experience so far.
So, well, last year, I think honestly, you know, at Ecker Hill, the kids are still young. I mean, they're 11 to 13, and parents who are working, they need something for those kids on the early release days. All our programs happen on early release days. And so it was really popular for kids to be able to try new activities and new sports. We introduced later age sports, or later entry sports rather. So now kids can try rowing and biathlon and
fantastic
curling.
Curling, oh, that's the best. That is like the most popular sport now. It's curling, you know, it's incredible. That and pickleball, maybe. Those two are like really like neck and neck right now. That's amazing though. Good for, that's what a great opportunity to open that up to people.
Yeah, and then the idea is behind that Activate program actually is the kids actually have a passport. Okay. And each activity that they use, they get it stamped, and they have to include CPR and first aid. Okay. And so
that's smart.
I know, and so the idea is that now local people will know about the Activate program, and they'll know that these kids that have completed that and got their certificate, they're employable. They can start earning money, babysitting, working for other local nonprofits, you know, refereeing at the Basin Rec, that type of thing. So the idea is that we're starting to bring in these life skills that we brought in at Get Out and Play, but as they get older, they're more accountable and respect and kindness and stuff.
Well, that's so great you're doing that. I know at the Christian Center Park City, the organization I lead, we do so much together already. It's been really fun to getting coats and jackets for kids that need it. And I know there are a concerted effort among nonprofits here in Park City to really make sure all the needs are being met, particularly in our low-income community and our Latino community specifically. Many people are surprised to know that about 30% of Park City is Latino. So there's a lot of needs within that community, but it's really beyond just that community. So talk about that from your perspective now as a nonprofit leader in this community. What are the needs that are still not being met? I mean, you're doing great programs already. Activate is growing, as you've shared. Are there still some needs that are not being met, or some things that still need to be addressed?
Yeah, and actually, you know, in the Get Out and Play program, 30% of our kids are scholarshiped. So for them, you know, this is a chance for them to get out on the mountain. But for the teenagers, teenage kids, we're still looking at trying to get kids active on doing something fun, but specifically with the Latino community, we're trying to give them some life skills that will help them.
Great.
And when I asked the kids, before I went out put this program together, I actually asked the kids, what would you like to see? And from them, it was really life skills. They wanted to do the cooking and the woodworking and the, you know,
so
certification
fun.
classes.
Okay.
And so trying to get those kids, giving them some skills that they can use to help them along in life. So,
and have you felt like you've been able to attract the group that is kind of falling through the cracks maybe now, or has that still been challenging?
it's still been challenging, and I think that part of that is the cool factor, who's doing it, but also the communication. You know,
Okay.
kids, you know, they tune out the morning announcements in
Yeah,
school.
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
And
I think I did, for sure.
they walk past flyers that are right there. So I think realistically, unless you know, it comes from a child to a child. I say child; they're almost grown-ups. The communication is one of the problems that we're still facing with that community, and just in teenagers in general. I mean, you know, our goal is to get them off the phones, and they're always on the phone.
That's a challenge for all of us, you know, if you're a parent, for sure. And just, yeah, absolutely. We took a group of people, we're in the program, you know, we took a group to the state capitol yesterday, and same thing, it was just so hard to get them away from their phones.
Yes.
It's very challenging. And so, okay, so as you think about all that you're doing, and the community that's hearing about this, watches this show, how could they get involved, or what are some of the things that you're looking for in terms of volunteers, perhaps, or other ways they can plug in?
So volunteers is one, we rely on our volunteers. Without them, I mean, we really couldn't run the program. So whether it's helping Operation Hope, which we collaborate with, and the kids actually register, specifically the Latino kids, and we need help. I don't speak Spanish, so definitely if there is anybody out there that is Spanish speaker and they're willing to help us. But also we need volunteers to go on the buses with the kids, to be we call them a sweeper when the kids are mountain biking. We have someone at the back. We need volunteers for that. So volunteers is definitely a way forward to help us, but of course financially as well.
Sure, every nonprofit needs a little bit of extra funding, so we appreciate that. So I really love, if you go to YACA's website, you'll see they have so many good things in terms of social media, videos. They're pretty active out there, and so if they want to find out more, give us a couple of URLs, maybe their Facebook page, Twitter page, or where would you send people if they want more information?
So they can go to ysaparkcity.org, and everything is on there. The Facebook links and the Instagram links are on there. But yeah, ysaparkcity.org.
Good deal. Well, you know, it's really fun to be able to have Heather here. As I mentioned, you know, the Christian Center Park City, we had that really wonderful program. We had 1,200 kids right now that we understand qualify for free and reduced lunch right here in Park City. They're Park City School District kids. 1,200 kids that qualify, so it's a federal standard of poverty is what they call it, really. So within that, we work with the administrators and teachers to say, how can we make sure we meet their needs? And one of the needs that came to us was jackets and hats and gloves and boots. That we had this program Heather mentioned, Operation Hope, and it was so great because YSA, we worked together the last couple of years actually, but we decided we want to make sure every child, all 1,200, receive jackets, hats and gloves and boots before really Christmas, because our program is a Christmas program in December. Well, they're at the bus stops in October. It starts getting cold, and even certainly by November. And so teachers were like, it's too late by December. They need it earlier than that. So I just want to commend Heather and YSA. They've done such a good job of really caring for, you know, the group of people that just need the basics, what I would call the basics of a jacket, hat, gloves, and things like that. So we look forward to doing that more in the future. Again, check it out, ysaparkcity.org.
Yes.
Correct. And you can see them on social media. They're doing great work. Heather, thanks so much for being a guest today.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, good.
Awesome. That was so good.
Good. Thank you. It's great. I really appreciate it. And you have the great...
The Activate program and the Get Out and Play program is a program that has access for all, regardless of their financial situation, their physical abilities, or their social economic group. This year we created the Activate program, and that's for 6th and 7th graders at Ecker Hill. This is an after-school program that is in a supervised environment that helps them make good choices, whether it's
sports, whether it's creative or whether it's lifestyle.
Get Out and Play and the Activate programs that YSA provides are such an integral part to our community because they get kids off the couch and active after school. Kids in that age range are dropping out of sports in a really, really fast rate. And we're saving that and giving them another option to be healthy, to be active, and to do lifelong sports.
Not only has there been a local study, but there is national studies. This is when girls in particular drop out of sports. This is where boys find other activities other than sports to take part of. And so it's really important that we give them the right choices.
We teach sportsmanship and optimism and teamwork and all of those different things that they take away with them for life.
What we're hoping is that we can provide programs that wouldn't normally be available.
This goes to reach kids that never would have had the opportunity to try these sports, and we're seeing all of them shine.
This year alone, the Get Out and Play and the Activate program has given 275 kids the chance to take part in our activities.
Sports gives kids an opportunity to go anywhere in life. You know, whether it's to go stand on the top of an Olympic podium or have their energy channeled into something different.
The Youth Sports Alliance gives access for all and gives every kid a chance to get out and play.
The opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors with your friends and family is one of the best things about Hike for Hunger. Not only are you helping the Christian Center's efforts to wipe out hunger in Summit and Wasatch County, but you get to do it in a way where you are outdoors, enjoying the beautiful cool air, scenic views, and just really getting some healthy activity out in the mountains. One of the cool features about this year's Hike for Hunger is that we are offering hiker-only trails. You can enjoy all of your trail hiking free of having to jump off the tracks for any oncoming bikers, and bikers, you can enjoy the trails without having to worry about running into any hikers. No matter what your level of hiking ability is, there's something for you to enjoy at this event. There's easy trails, not so easy trails, trails that you can enjoy with your friends and family, young and old, of all skill levels. Don't miss this year's Hike for Hunger.
Well, I want to thank Bill White and Heather Sims once again for just sharing their story just a little bit. There's so much more there, of course, but we want to at least bring you their story because here's our goal. Every episode of Impact and Influence, we really want to make sure you're inspired. We hope that you hear these stories and then you get inspired to do your own story and create your own story, whether you're a nonprofit leader, a government leader, a for-profit leader, or maybe you're a student, you're in high school, you're in college, and you're still thinking you can't wait to get out there to make a difference. We know you can make a difference, and my hope is you leave every episode knowing that you too can make a difference and truly make this world a better place. Until next time, we'll see you then.